Welcome everybody to our webinar today on how to tap into foreign markets. Today's webinar is brought to you by the Magnet Export Business Portal and the Government of Ontario. Emily will later on speak a little bit about the Export Business Portal. It's a great opportunity for you to connect with the resources to help you grow your business. So I'm going to start off by introducing our speakers, Scott and Emily. Then we're going to have a demonstration of the Export Business Portal, and once we've done that, what we'll do is we'll have a Q&A section. But remember, you can post your questions at any time. So let me start off by introducing our speakers today. Before we begin, my name is Andrew Patricio. I'm going to be the moderator. I'm the founder of a business called BizLaunch. We teach business owners the steps they need to take to build a successful business, and we do that through webinars and workshops. Presenters today are Emily and Scott. So let me tell you a little bit about Scott McNeil-Smith. He's the National Director of Projects and Partnerships and the Energy Programs Lead. So for the past 25 years, Scott has worked with corporate, industrial, commercial, and the non-profit sector organizations with a key objective of creating positive and sustainable growth. Currently, he's the National Director of Projects and Partnerships with EMC and Energy Programs Lead for its manufacturing and industrial members. Scott is in his 20th year with the business and has played a key role in helping grow the non-profit organization from an 18-member local organization to Canada's largest manufacturing consortium. So lots of experience. And Scott is responsible for strategic planning, design, deployment of many industry-driven initiatives, including the EMC's labor market intelligence projects, energy and sector initiatives. So lots of experience, and he's going to share his experience with us. Then we have Emily Collins. So she's the communications coordinator and one of the newest additions to the Magnet platform, which is the Magnet Export Business Portal. Emily works directly with businesses and business support organizations to help raise awareness of the numerous opportunities available to Ontario businesses to help them grow and expand internationally. When businesses thrive, we all do, and Emily wants to ensure that businesses have access to the resources necessary to grow. And I agree 100% with Emily. It's so important that we have the resources available. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with Scott sharing with us some of his expertise and some of his knowledge. So Scott, take it away and share with us some of your knowledge and expertise.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, and I'm pleased to be here with our colleagues at Magnet. Excellence in Manufacturing Consortium is a partner in the Business Export Portal. We have many manufacturers throughout Canada, as Andrew mentioned, and one of the biggest questions we get on a regular basis relates to export development and export readiness. So the ability to connect our manufacturers with the needed resources to have them at their fingertips is one of our objectives, and the partnership with the Export Portal has been an important step in doing that. Just a quick background on EMC, and we'll go through these fairly quickly. For those of you who don't know, Excellence in Manufacturing Consortium is a unique organization. We were founded in the mid-'80s and formally incorporated as a not-for-profit in 1997. So just over 21 years as an incorporation. We work with manufacturers regardless of their size or sector, and most importantly, level of sophistication. So it's not an organization that is exclusive. We're inclusive of all manufacturers and processors. Just as Andrew mentioned, we've grown quite a bit in that time. We've become Canada's largest manufacturing consortium. The key point in this is the number of events that we host annually. We're over 1,000 events throughout Canada annually, and that comprises knowledge events, training, formal and informal, online events such as webinars like today, and the second piece is our audience. Over 40,000 manufacturing firms are engaged with us in one way, shape, or form from coast to coast, and that's a pretty high percentage. You can see where the distribution is is laid out here on this chart. Within Ontario, you can see our clusters, and so our consortium regions are throughout the province, and the blue circles represent the area of coverage. So we've got employees or management within those circles traveling often between consortiums, and they're open to participate regardless of where the events are happening. So manufacturing is something that we find ourselves having to almost convince those in the community that it's important to focus on. So for those manufacturers on this webinar, it comes as no surprise, but I had a university economics professor who drilled this into my head, and there's only 3 primary methods of creating new wealth in our economy. You build it, you grow it, or you dig it out of the ground. Everything else is just moving money around from one pile to another. And while the banks might think that that's a good thing, what we are trying to convey is that the most rapid way that you can affect positive change and new wealth in a growing economy is to build it. And that's where manufacturers come in. Not that the others are not important, but it's really key that we have a focus on industry. Agriculture, for example, if you make an investment today, you'll get a result next season. Similarly with the mining and oil and gas industry, by the time you go through the environmental impact studies, your investments come later. Manufacturing, a dollar invested today is a result that's achieved today. And so this leads us to global economic impacts of what we're talking about. So we hear on a daily basis that manufacturers are struggling in many cases due to increased competition from all over the world. And what began as Japan in the 80s and expanded throughout Asia became in 2004. You can see the cover of Saturday's Globe and Mail. That was a huge addition on what was coming from China. And in the 10 years that followed that publication, everything came true. So the manufacturers that were not looking ahead, that were not looking to build and grow and become more competitive, were left behind. Many of them exited the market, but those that did the right steps have remained and succeeded. So when we look at what the needs of industry are, for the last 17 years, EMC's conducted a national senior management study that looks at what the issues are affecting manufacturing. And so we're getting primary feedback directly from the senior managers within those manufacturers and processors. For 2019, skills and labor topped the charts. Increasing costs of manufacturing was number 2, and you can see a breakdown of those costs, increasing competition and finding new customers. Those are the top challenges. Here's a full breakdown of the list for 2019, and the key here is that for the first time in 7 years, skill shortage actually eclipsed the cost of manufacturing. So things are changing that will affect competitiveness. And what we're seeing here, these are the changes that are anticipated in the next 5 years. And so all of these require business growth, but they also require skilled team and leadership to ensure manufacturers get there. So really an important message that ties into our export resources. So the consistent findings, and this is something that we've seen now for several years when we do the year-over-year comparisons. Our industry is not only competing for new business and customers, but also to attract and retain the skilled talent. And so without the skilled talent, everything else becomes a little bit more difficult. We are seeing some leverage of advanced manufacturing, automation, IoT 4.0, that sort of thing, but the skills are still needed to drive that. And what we're seeing in the companies that are building export readiness and are exporting already, having that talent on board is something that has been key to their success. So right now, just an interesting stat, more than half of the manufacturers that have participated in our study, and we're talking thousands of companies throughout Canada, said that if the right skill set landed on their door, they'd hire them on the spot. And interestingly, as much as these same companies are looking to sell their goods throughout the world, they're also recruiting throughout the world. So the market, both from a supply perspective and a demand perspective, has become more global, and companies need to have access to those resources that we're going to talk about. And so, just to hand off, so we're very pleased to participate in this. What we're seeing is a lot of companies that are looking for information at their fingertips. It could be in the middle of the night, so that export development or business development person that's looking for access to those foreign markets, resources and where to turn, having that information at their fingertips, whether it's middle of the business day or middle of the night, that's something that's been key. So Magnet, in developing the Export Business Portal, has put together a unique technology that we're seeing of great use to our manufacturers, and something that we're pleased to be supporting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you, Scott. And also thank you to everyone who's tuning in today. Whether you are, brand new to EMC, or if you've been a member for a number of years now, I know you probably found Scott's presentation very informative. I know I certainly did. And really, I guess as an introduction, this partnership between the Magnet Export Business Portal and EMC really made sense. It was really clear, and as Scott said, for manufacturers, two really big issues right now are the shortage of skills in the workforce, or accessing those skills, and then also looking for those resources to be able to go out and access international markets. And as Scott said, manufacturers can really be creating a new wealth in our economy, and you all really need to be constantly thinking, how can I be more competitive? How can I access new markets, and think more really on a global scale? And so just a little bit more information about Magnet, a little bit more background. Magnet started in 2014 as a digital social innovation, and the technology was created out of Ryerson University's Digital Media Zone, the tech incubator at the university. And it was really created to address youth unemployment and underemployment. And so what it is, it's a data matching technology and an online platform that's free, that started as a way to connect job seekers with employers. And so how that really works is a job seeker comes onto the system, they upload their resume, they'll answer questions about their experience, their skills, their background, what their job interests are. An employer will do the same. They'll sign on, post a job posting, and be able to indicate exactly what type of talent they're looking for. They can really pinpoint the exact type of candidate they would like to hire. And so from there, the two are connected based on using the same drop-down pick lists, and are matched. So it's really easier, for a job seeker. You're not applying to all of these jobs that you're not actually eligible for. And for the employer, they're not receiving, hundreds or sometimes even thousands of applications for, ineligible candidates. And so for the export portal, fast forward 3 years, beginning of 2017, on the talent side, there are currently 120,000 job seekers. There are 14,000 employers using the system, 320 community partners, just like Excellence in Manufacturing Consortium. And so the Ontario government came to us, came to Magnet, and what was formerly the Ontario Ministry of International Trade and is now the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. They came to Magnet and said, well, if you can use this technology to match job seekers with employers, can you do the same with businesses and opportunities? And Andrew, if you could just flick to the next slide. So really, of course, we know that the business case is clear for exporting. It's really a win-win situation between businesses, but then also community and economic growth. So exporting, it's a way to grow Ontario business, and for one, as an exporter, you're able to increase your revenues much faster than if you are solely focusing on the Canadian market. And of course, the Canadian market is just so small. There's just so many opportunities out there, and you need to be, looking at doing business on more of a global scale. And then, of course, exporters that, are looking outside of the Canadian borders often are more innovative, more profitable, and more productive. And so the question really is, why aren't more businesses exporting? And that's really what the challenge that the Ontario government came to Magnet with. And so while the project was being developed, while the technology was being developed, the government sat down with a small focus group of 50 businesses and asked these businesses, why aren't you accessing all of the opportunities that are out there from, the provincial government, the federal government, organizations like EDC or BDC. And really, for the businesses, there were three main reasons that they weren't taking advantage of these opportunities. So the first was that there's just an overwhelming array of export resources that are out there, and they're really resources offered by, all levels of government, by industry associations, and then also by private sector. And, if you do a quick Google search of, say, how to export in China, Canadian opportunities, you're going to get 15 pages on Google search right off the bat in 2 seconds, and so there's really just a lot of confusion there. The second reason was that, small and medium-sized businesses just do not have the time every day to be searching for the right opportunities. So, if a business has never exported before, how do I know, what trade mission I should be going on? How do I know what country, is the best place to be exporting? How do I know if this funding program is going to be right for me? And again, businesses with small teams, it can take a lot of time and resources to seek out these opportunities. And if you're on a small team, if you're an SME, you just don't have that time. The third reason was that there are just so many providers of, programs, of trade missions, events, and businesses just really have a lot of struggles trying to decipher the difference between, a Global Affairs Canada trade mission, an Ontario government trade mission, what is offered by BDC, the Business Development Bank of Canada, or, how can Export Development Canada help me? And so there's just, again, confusion here. And at the end of the day, if you are a business that's new to exporting, all of these program providers are great. They have, websites with all of the information out there. But as a new business to exporting, they are relying on you to understand and know what you're looking for. Really, this is what the Magnet Export Business Portal was created for. And so it is a one-stop shop, and it is simplifying those pathways to accessing the right opportunities. And so it's a digital platform, and it uses intelligent data matching technology to connect you with the right information, regardless of your size, regardless of your experience with export, your sector, your location, the markets that you're interested in going into, and it really reverses that flow of communication. So instead of you having to go out and look for the opportunities find you. And when I take you into a demonstration in a few minutes, you'll see exactly what I mean and how those messages and those opportunities are streamlined directly to your inbox. And so with the export portal, we're really leveraging the expertise of our partners. So we always tell businesses, we are not necessarily the export experts, but we want to connect you to the right person, or to the right event or the right website. And so when you are signing on to the export portal, you are receiving content from the Ontario government, from Export Development Canada, from Global Affairs Canada, and from the Business Development Bank of Canada, and it's all information that is relevant to you, and opportunities that you're eligible for. So it's not a directory, it's not signing onto a government website and just seeing a list of all the workshops that they have going on for a full year. You are only being communicated with opportunities that you should actually be taking advantage of. And so we're all about targeted communication. And I'll show you when I take you into a demonstration of the portal. You're able to set your email preferences so that you will never have to check the portal again, and you will receive push notifications directly to your email inbox. Because we know if you're a small business, if you're a business owner, you just do not have the time every day to be checking your email and checking your Twitter or LinkedIn or the Magnet Export Business Portal. We don't want to have to make this another thing to add onto your list every day. And so for that reason, you're able to set your preferences and have these opportunities streamlined directly to your account. And so really how it works, what's great about partnering with organizations like EMC is that we're able to give all EMC businesses an entry point into the system. So if you sign up through EMC's landing page, which is emc.magnet.today, not only will you be accessing trade missions funding programs, events from EDC, BDC, Global Affairs Canada, and the Government of Ontario, you'll also get first line access to all opportunities coming from EMC. So any of their services, programs, events, membership meetings, networking sessions, anything that they have coming up, you will be communicated through the portal about these opportunities. And so it's really just a short onboarding process. And again, I often tend to leave this out, but it is completely free for a business to sign up. Once you create a profile, we're just going to ask for some key information. So your business website, your name, address, your industry, and the markets that you serve, and we ask for NAICS codes. Now, oftentimes businesses don't have their NAICS codes really top of mind, and if they don't, we've created a new what's called fuzzy search for a business, so that when you go in and type in what your NAICS code is, if you don't know right off the bat, you can type in a keyword that's relevant to your business, and a list of NAICS codes, relevant NAICS codes, will pop up, and you can select which ones are relevant to you based on the keywords attached to each of those NAICS codes. You'll have to indicate your organization type, your number of employees, and your founding year. And all of these items are really important because they are, just enough information where it's not a long sign-up process for you, the business, but the system is capturing enough information that you will be pipelined and be targeted with the right information and the right events, the right trade missions, etc. And then in the second step of the sign-up process, we basically just want to gauge your experience with exporting. So if you'll be asked, do you currently export products or services outside of Canada? If you say yes, you'll get a few more questions. If you say no, you'll just be asked your total sales revenue range and your export markets of interest. We realize that a lot of the businesses that sign up are just newly exporting, or haven't even started to dabble yet outside of the Canadian market. So if you check don't know yet, then you will be sent opportunities from really anywhere in the world, anything that's offered by our content providers. And then it's also important to note that all of this information is completely confidential. This is not some sort of, as a social media channel or, LinkedIn or Twitter where you can go and look at other businesses' profiles. The information is all confidential, and it's not a CRM. I can't go in and look up this information and look up each individual business's, sales revenue range, and neither can any of our partners. So, you know, the Ontario government can't either. It's really just meant, we really just wanted to collect the most important information to get you matched to the right opportunities. And so really the third step is just plan for success. So once you've created your profile and set up your email preferences, you're good to go. We always tell businesses, you know, if you sign up for an account, you might receive notifications from us, you know, every week for 3 weeks, and then it could go, you know, a month, and you might not hear from us. And we get this question sometimes from businesses, you know, like, I was hearing from you guys so often, I was getting all these opportunities, and then, you know, 3 or 4 weeks went by and I didn't get anything. And that is simply because there might not be anything, you know, out there offered by any of our content providers that is currently relevant to you or that you are eligible for. And so again, it's really important to note that we do not use blanketed communication in any way. This is not, you know, an e-blast to everyone who has accounts on the portal. You are being targeted when an opportunity comes up that is relevant to you. And something else I'll show you when I take you into the demonstration is the Learning tab, and that was really created as a way to have a one-stop shop, one learning center with all information relevant to, you know, business growth, to exporting from our content providers, but it's a lot of that more static content. So, you know, it's articles, it's business reports, country information, you know, white papers, how-to videos, training modules, really anything anything that is, you know, educational content. It all sits there in your learning center. And again, like your targeted messages, like your updates about events, trade missions, etc., this learning center content is all curated to meet your business needs. Okay, so it's all based on that business profile that you built out. And as I mentioned, you know, we always say that we are not the export experts. It is our partners that, you know, really provide those programs and services. And so when you need when you need help exporting, help, you know, entering a new market, whether you are going into your first market or, you know, whether you're quite experienced and just looking to find the next country that you know, is attractive for your exports. Help is at hand from EDC, BDC, Global Affairs Canada, and the Government of Ontario, and we want to connect you with the you know, the right person at each of those organizations. So really, just as a summary, the benefits for businesses, you know, it's really 3 main things. The export portal, it's targeted, so it's filtered and curated information, and it's everything from funding programs to trade missions, inbound and outbound, you know, incoming delegations, networking sessions, local events. It's convenient, so, you know, it's not something, we're really removing the guesswork for businesses. It's not something that you'll have to check every day. It's messages streamlined directly to your email account, and then it's also free. So because the Ontario Ministry of International Trade, again, now the Ontario Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Growth, because they are funding this portal, there is no fee at all for a business to create a profile, and so, you know, a lot of our businesses ask, you know, how did you get, you know, EDC, BDC, and, you know, Global Affairs Canada to agree to have their content on your system? And really, for each of these partners, it's just an additional marketing channel for them. So, you know, we help them connect with, you know, the right businesses. And on the business side, we connect the business directly to the right program or service. And so I'm going to take you into a demonstration. First, if you have any questions after this webinar about magnet export, please feel free to reach out to either myself, I'm Emily, and you can reach me on my email there, or Devin Franklin, who is the project manager for the Magnet Export Business Portal. All right, so if you are signing on for the first time, you are going to need to fill out your business profile. And this is what it looks like when you enter into the system. I've already filled out this profile. This is for a fictional company. It is North Equipment Supply, and they are located in Sudbury, Ontario. And so I've built out this profile already just to show you how the technology works. But this is the first step that you'll have to do when you create an account. So again, we just ask for some basic information about your organization. We'll then ask for your industry, your market served. So again, you can use a fuzzy search here. Type in a keyword, a list of NAICS codes relevant to that keyword will pop up, and you can select as many that are relevant to your business as you'd like. You'll have to select the type of business. So if you're private, if you're public, an educational institution, or public sector, not-for-profit, for the most part, the businesses tend to be private that sign up for the export portal. You'll have to select a range of the number of your employees, your founding year, and this is something that's really important for funding programs, because we have funding programs, coming through the system that are, say, for new startup companies. And so, if you're founded 10 years ago, then you wouldn't be hit with something like this. But then we also have funding programs coming through the system where the business has to be established for a number of years to be eligible for the program. So on the back end, when we're uploading a message, we'll say, has been established, before 2015, and so then only businesses that have been established prior to 2015 will be hit with this message. It's same with the total sales revenue range. That really comes into play for funding programs as well. For the export info, we really just ask, are you exporting? If you are, what is the percentage of your revenue? You'll have to select a range, your current export markets, and the years of total experience you have doing export-related business. Then we also ask for your countries of interest. Again, you can select as many as you'd like. So once you hit submit, as you can see, it's a fairly quick sign-up process. You'll hit submit, and you'll get taken to this screen right here. And so in the middle here where it says My Messages, these are all messages that have been curated specifically for your business account. So I'm only being hit with these messages here because I have, answered or filled out my business profile in a specific way. And so just as an example, our webinar today, EMC presents How to Tap into Foreign Markets. That is something that came through the portal. So this account was hit with it because they've indicated that they are, in the manufacturing industry. They've indicated that as one of their NAICS codes. Every message you get hit with, it'll just have, a quick blurb about that opportunity, and then there'll always be a link back to the website where you can find more information and sign up or apply, or an email or a phone number to the appropriate contact person. I'm just going to go back to my homepage. So as you can see, this particular account has been hit with 26 items. And so these are all separate opportunities that that business is eligible for. And just to give you a little bit of context, I know right now there are over 300 opportunities that have gone through this system in the past few months. And so you can really see just how specific it gets with what you're being hit with. So, you're only being targeted with information that's really relevant to you. And as you scroll down, you can see, this particular opportunity is coming from the Ontario government, from the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. They host a number of trade missions throughout the year, and that is something that you'll be targeted with. And so this particular trade mission, it's a mining technologies mission to Colombia, and so it'll explain in the message the Ontario government is looking for X amount of companies who can participate in this mission, what it'll include. A lot of these times these missions are highly subsidized, so it'll explain what's covered, what's not, and how to apply. So these are just some of the opportunities that this account has been hit with. Here's an example of a funding program, the Can Export funding program, which is huge from Global Affairs Canada, and really it's just such a broad range of services, of funding programs, of important things that you need to keep your eye out there for. Something else I want to bring to your attention is the Learning Center, which I mentioned earlier in my presentation. So this Learning Center, it works the exact same way that your messages feed does, except these are more static pieces of content and more, I guess, educational content that's separated into specific learning categories for you. So if you are a brand new exporter, like this account, it doesn't have this particular business wouldn't have had a whole lot of experience going into new markets globally, and so they've been hit with 6 steps to exporting. And this is information coming from Export Development Canada. It's an overview, how to get started in foreign trade, how to identify the best market prospects, and so again, this learning content, this learning center, it's all curated for you. Something that I think is going to be of interest to a lot of you businesses, and really it's something that Scott covered in his presentation on the issues with shortage in the workforce. It's access to the talent side. So from one sign-in to the Magnet, to your Magnet account, you are now a part of the Magnet network. So you are what we call kind of a node on the Magnet network. So not only are you, opening yourself up to receiving all of these great funding programs, events, trade missions, but you also have access to the Magnet talent functionality from the one sign-in. So when you hit job postings over here on the left-hand navigation, you have the opportunity to create a new posting, to manage your postings, and to view the applicants. So if I hit create a new posting, I'm directed to this screen here where I can either create a free job posting looking for a student, or create a free job posting looking for, really any type of job seeker with any education or work experience, from any school, any amount of job experience. So you get this functionality, which is really great. And now, just recently, Magnet is also connected with Orbis, and so now it's really a streamlined process for employers when posting work integrated opportunities. Work integrated learning opportunities for students across the country. It's all integrated on the one portal, and you have access to that when you sign in. So it's really becoming a lot easier and a lot quicker to create the one job posting and target a very specific audience of job seekers and really hammer down exactly what you're looking for in a candidate. The media section here, it's just to upload any images or PDF attachments that you are including on your job posting. You're able to view any applicants that come in, and this updates as job seekers apply for your job, and they'll populate all here, so you can see what you're working with. Just going back to the export side, if you go to your community messages up here, you have a list of everything you've been hit with in the system. So these are all the same opportunities that were just on your dashboard feed, but you're able to see them kind of at a more aggregate level, kind of in an inbox look and feel. And this is some of the feedback that we got from our first businesses that came onto the system. They wanted a space on the portal where they can see everything on the one page and be able to indicate, what's important to me, what's not, you can star messages, if they're relevant, if you want to take action to them. You can use the the search functionality at the top here to seek out specific opportunities. So this is just a collection of everything that you've been hit with. Lastly, I just want to point out where you can update your email settings, your email preferences. If you go to settings here on the left-hand navigation bar, and just go to your account preferences. When you hit email preferences, this is where you can indicate whether you'd like to receive notifications from us on a daily or weekly basis. And you can play around with that and you can update that as you like. I have mine set to immediately. So as soon as something comes up in the system that I'm eligible for, I'll get pinged right away to my email inbox, and I will really be the first to know about this situation, because we work with all of our content providers, EDC, BDC, Global Affairs Canada, and the Government of Ontario, to ensure that as they are pushing out opportunities, we are also doing it at the same time. So it's really, again, a one-stop shop, a very easy setup process, and also a very convenient process where it's not something you'll have to be checking every day. You will get the notification by email, and you'll be able to decide from there whether you want to take advantage of that particular opportunity. And so I think that is really kind of a good overview of the system. Sometimes it's easier to bring you businesses directly into the system and see how it works, because it's often difficult to explain exactly what the Magnet Export Business Portal is in a 5-minute pitch. So I'm glad that you were able to join us and take a look at the export portal and get.
Thank you very much, Emily. That was a great explanation of exactly how it uses, how it works, and I'm sure all of you realize that it's a really great system that works really well, and I encourage you to go and check it out. So just go to Google, type in Magnet Export Business Portal, and it'll upload. So I've got a bunch of questions here. Let me just unmute Scott. I've got a few questions here from the audience. So let us start off with the first question for Emily. So there's a question, let me just tag this over here. So one of the first questions is, earlier on, Emily, you were speaking about the website that allows people to hire people. Can you just mention what the URL is for that other service that you guys offer for employees, so people online can understand?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And so actually, you can access the Magnet talent functionality directly from the one sign-in. So today, after you log off of this webinar, if you use the URL emc.magnet.today and hit add me as a new user, you'll be able to start filling out your business profile. Once you've submitted that, that's when you'll have access to the talent side. So again, it's all from the one sign-in. You get access to both the export opportunities as well as the talent functionality. From right then and there, you'll be able to create a job posting and access the thousands of job seekers that are currently a part of this Magnet network.
Excellent. Really, really interesting information, and I encourage all of you to check it out. With Emily, then we can move on to Scott. And the question is, Emily, how do exporters find buyers in other countries? Can you give us some tips using the Magnet Export Business Portal? How would they find international buyers?
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's a couple ways that exporters can be looking for international buyers using the export portal. And so I would say, first of all, ensure that you have your email preferences set, that you are receiving your opportunities directly to your email inbox. These are going to be opportunities that are eligible for and that are that you're eligible for. So, for example, a trade mission that, we always encourage businesses take advantage of these trade missions. Do your homework beforehand. There's a lot of, research and prep work required ahead of time for the trade mission. When you go on the trade mission, you'll have the opportunity, with the support of, either the Government of Ontario or Government of Canada, with their support, you will be set up up in B2B networking sessions and trade shows internationally to connect with these international buyers. And so really it's leveraging the expertise of our partners, but time and time again from so many businesses, what we've heard that going on these trade missions have been, such a great experience as long as you are, doing your proper research, and then your follow-up afterwards. And that's something that our service providers really help you with and coach you with. And that's an example of something that you can find and connect with on the export portal. And then there's also the Learning Center side. So, if you are a brand new business, perhaps you haven't even gotten your first sale yet, you haven't even gotten your business off the ground yet, all of this information will still be curated specifically to meet your business profile. And so there are just so many business growth resources that are out there that will be streamlined to you through the portal. And in your Learning Center, you'll be able to access, for your market, what are the most attractive countries right now, where you should be looking for these buyers, and in what parts of the world is your product or service in most demand. So it's really, using that Learning Center to guide your decision in what opportunities you want to take action to.
Interesting. Any advice from you, Scott, on exporters finding buyers internationally?
That's a great question, and part of the reason why we're partnering with Magnet is that technical connection to that potential audience. What we've typically done in the past has focused on showcasing what our manufacturers are doing here, and so putting them in the room with each other to hear from and communicate with the subject matter experts. So several times a year throughout all of our regions, we'll hold export development events with the folks from the Ontario government, whether it's economic development or OMAFRA or the foreign investors, and allow them to become more familiar with the companies and the capabilities that are existing here in Ontario and Canada. And we've also hosted inbound missions, so those foreign trade missions are absolutely important for establishing relationships and potential sales for those companies, but equally we found success with inbound missions where those foreign companies and organizations are coming here. We have the ability to put manufacturers in the room with them directly and start to develop those relationships as well. So plant tours, direct meetings with inbound investors or customers, that's something that we've had some success with as well. So combined with the technology, we really have a 360-degree service and approach to developing the export audience for our manufacturers.
Really interesting. So we've got a question here for Scott. Scott, when it comes to using the services of EMC, how does a business owner approach them? What's the system? What's the process? How could we benefit from the services?
Well, it's very, very simple. So our main company website is emccanada.org, and right at the top right of the page, there's a button you can click to get more information on becoming a member. As a not-for-profit organization, our membership is quite low. It's based on your plant. It covers all of your employees. It doesn't matter what size you are. It's very easy to get involved, and typically what we do is connect you with your local field service advisor, who is a person who hails from industry, and get you out to one of the local events that are happening so that you can see what's going on and have an opportunity to meet your colleagues.
Really interesting. So great resources available for business owners, and I encourage you to take advantage. So there's one question here, quite a complicated question, but I'll try and simplify it as much as possible. And maybe, Emily, you can maybe at least guide Fred on how to find out information. So one of the questions here is, how do you deal with fraud when doing exporting internationally? I mean, is there a way to protect yourself? Where do you go and find out information about protecting yourself, you know, with companies internationally that maybe are not that honest and upstanding? So how do you deal with that? Is this type of information available on the Magnet Export Business Portal?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And yeah, something I've gotten feedback from, you know, a lot of businesses on their experience with going international. Of course, you know, there are just so many barriers that exist, you know, when selling your products, whether it's online or, you know, you're doing business in person. And dealing with fraud, you know, is consistently, you know, something that businesses have to keep in mind. And this is something that you would find on our learning center. And so really the content providers like Export Development Canada, Global Affairs Canada, and the Ontario government have, you know, more of this expertise and knowledge. And if you go to your learning center, you'll be able to contact an expert and receive more information on these types of issues. So really the portal, again, it's meant to connect you, to the right person or to the right website. But I do know right off the bat that is something that is definitely a hot topic for businesses and something they're concerned about when going internationally, especially at the start. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to any of the content or of the service providers that we've indicated in your learning center. And if you want to be contacted directly, feel free to reach out to me, and I will find you. I'll find you the right person.
One of the things that we've seen with the fraud subject has been also failure to pay. So we have manufacturers that are working directly with EDC on making sure that they're able to get paid for the products they're selling, as well as to protect their intellectual property when they're communicating information. So there's lots of good information there.
Excellent. Really useful information. All right, so we're nearly at the top of the hour. A couple of final comments from you, Emily, and then we'll get a couple of final comments from you, Scott, and then we'll end off our webinar. So a couple of final words from you, Emily.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. You know, as Scott went over earlier, you businesses as manufacturers, you know, the issues exist there with shortages of skills in the workforce, but then also, you know, that there's the opportunity to be growing and scaling your business internationally. And I really think that the Magnet network addresses both of these issues. And so I hope you all take a few minutes after the webinar today to sign up. And if you go to emc.magnet.today, the sign up process is fairly easy. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. And Scott, a couple of final words.
I'd echo what Emily has said, and also EMC pushes out information through that same portal as well. And so whenever we get any export-related events and activities happening, you'll find them there. So having that single sign-on is certainly key, and we look forward to seeing everyone participate.
Thank you very much, Emily, and thank you very much, Scott, for sharing your expertise this afternoon. I really appreciate it. I encourage every one of you to go on this afternoon, sign up for the Magnet Export Business Portal, start educating yourself about exporting, have access to all these resources, sign up for it. It's a great opportunity. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Remember, we will be sending you a recording of this webinar, so in the next day or so, we'll be sending you a recording. But we've got another webinar coming up next week. I encourage you to sign up for these. They're a great learning opportunity, and grow your business. Use the opportunities at export to grow your business. I encourage all of you to do that. Thank you very much, Emily. Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you very much, everybody online, and have a great afternoon.